The following broadcast is brought to you by the iGolf Sports Network.
Golf Talk Live is sponsored by the iGolf Sports Network and Golf Tips Magazine. Here's Andrew to tell you more about our sponsors.
iGolf Sports is a live stream broadcast and media production company providing quality programming designed to attract the golfing enthusiast. And Golf Tips, the game's most in-depth instruction magazine, including reviews on the latest equipment, tips from top teaching professionals, all designed to help you improve from tee to green. Welcome to Golf Talk Live with your host, Ted Odorico. Join Ted each week as he speaks with some of the best in golf. This week's special guest will join us a bit later. But first up is another great discussion on Coach's Corner. So let's introduce tonight's Coach's Corner panel.
And I'm excited to have tonight's two featured guests. I'm going to introduce both of them here, and then we're going to get into a great discussion here on Golf Talk Live. First up, of course, is John Leahy. He is the WGA director at the Baltimore Country Club, also the president and founder at Target Market Group. Has a lot of experience, and he founded and built a Target Market Group back in 1986, which has become one of the top distributors of promotional merchandise in the country. And also he's been involved now for over a decade with WGA at the Baltimore Country Club. So we're glad to have him. Also, a newly awarded Evans Scholar from Baltimore Country Club is Kevin Flowers, who plans to study kinesiology, recently graduated from Loyola Blakefield in Towson, I believe it is, Maryland. I apologize if I said that incorrectly. He is the first in his family to attend college, and growing up in a single-parent household has shaped his views on education, he said. He was taught that hard work and good education are the keys to achieving your dreams, values that make him a better student, caddy, and athlete. So, Kevin, welcome to you, and John, welcome to you as well. I appreciate you coming on Golf Talk Live tonight.
Yep, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. So, I'm going to talk to John just briefly. I'm going to sort of pitch back and forth between the two of you for different things, obviously. But I just want to, John, maybe kind of give us an overview of the Evans Scholarship, sort of how it began, and just a little bit of the background, and sort of how long has it been going on, and what was the purpose of the scholarship program?
Okay, great. I'm glad you asked that question. The Evans Scholar Program is named after a famous amateur golfer named Chick Evans from Chicago. Chick Evans was the first amateur golfer to win the U.S. Amateur and the U.S. Open in the same year. That was in 1916. As part of that winning, he had some royalties from a couple of sponsorships that they wanted to pay him, and if he took the money, he'd have to turn professional. His
Right.
mother suggested that he remain and keep his amateur status, that he would do something else with the money. So they forwarded the money into a scholarship fund for education. It was his mother's idea. So they had those funds put away for education, and then in 1930, the Evans Scholar Foundation started. And they awarded the first scholarship to two students at Northwestern University with that money. And the foundation was started then. By coincidence, Bobby Jones was the only other golfer ever to win the U.S. Amateur and U.S. Open in the same year. And so it's Chick Evans and Bobby Jones. So it started out in Chicago in 1930. We're coming up on a 100-year anniversary of the program. We've put over probably close to 13,000 Evans Scholars through college in the past 95 some years.
Wow, that's incredible. Before I get you to talk about some of the criteria that the students have to go through to become involved with this, I want to go to Kevin now, and I want to just get your thoughts on, first off, how did you hear about it? Were you somebody that had kind of dipped your toes in the sand to golf a little bit beforehand? How did you hear about the program, and what was your sort of thoughts when it first came available, and what did you have to do to get prepared for it?
Right. So I didn't know anything about golf before Mr. Leahy had offered me a job. So it was really just a brand new thing I was trying. So my freshman year, he had offered me a job as a golf caddy. And, I was a bit hesitant because, like I said, I was really clueless. So I didn't really know what I was getting into. But, he was really helpful as far as like getting me accustomed And as I kept going out there, I got better slowly but surely.
Now,
And
sorry, go ahead.
And I found out about the Evans Scholarship through him, actually. Like, he kept talking to me about it, like, as I kept caddying, But I didn't really pay attention to it. I didn't pay attention to it till last summer. Because, what freshman in high school or what sophomore in high school was really thinking about college like that? So I just kept tuning it out until it was really time to focus on it. Last summer, he really told me that I had to lock in and get as many loops as I could to get to the amount of loops that I needed. So he put the battery in my bag to really like come back and caddy consistently. Because without him, I don't think I would have even if I did come back, I wouldn't have been eligible for the scholarship. So I'm just thankful for him for not only introducing me, but helping me get back into caddying.
It's interesting, John, when you hear Kevin's story like that, because here's a young man, and I, by the way, Kevin, I appreciate your honesty and saying it's true. Sophomore, they're not thinking about the future, and they're out, they just want to have a good time, and they school at that point is sometimes can be fun, but it can be a bit of a drag too, and if we're being honest. But you gave him an opportunity. You obviously saw something in this young man that you said, you know what, I think he could really benefit from what we have to offer here. What was it about Kevin that you saw that led you to that decision to say, Kevin, you need to be, thinking about this and thinking about your future? And then we'll get into talking about what it is that, he had to do and what the others have to do to really participate.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Yeah, it'd be part of our responsibility as a director of the Western Golf Association at these clubs around the country. And there's about 400 of us around the country at various clubs. And part of our mission is to recruit caddies, recruit kids who have potential to do this. So I had met with Kevin, and he, quite frankly, it was initiative. I mean, we had, if you remember that, Kevin, we had lunch, four of us, four scholars over, scholarship recipients over at Loyola Blakefield High School here in Baltimore. We had four of them there, and I mentioned it to all four of them, and they were all looking at me like, what is that? I mean, caddying, going to carry a bag around? I don't want to do that. And then Kevin, 2 weeks later, I gave everybody my card. He called me up and said, "Hey, what's this caddying thing all about? Can we talk more about it?" I said, "Fantastic." So to answer your question, Ted, yes, what really inspired me at that point was he took initiative to find out what was going on. And just like Kevin said, what kid who's a freshman in high school, thinks that far ahead to say, I'm going to try something totally unknown and see where it takes me. And, it's the path that he traveled. So
yeah,
that's what really sparked the interest in having Kevin. He showed initiative, and we supported him all the way to get this scholarship. So
yeah, and Kevin, I think that speaks volumes about you, because again, sometimes it can be a phone call, it can be just some sort of a spark in you that says, you know what, there might be something here for me. I need to really investigate that. And, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but you don't know. But until you make that first step, you put that first foot forward, you'll never know. And here you are, obviously sometime later and understanding the benefits now. So once you made that call, once you got introduced to it and you got out there and you were carrying the bag around, it really wasn't that bad. I'm sure after you got used to it and understood the game a little bit better, because you said you really didn't know that much about golf and really didn't have a lot of experience about that. Do you see what it is? Because I mean, obviously, I know you're familiar with professional golf now, but do you see why so many people are attracted to this game now that you've had a chance to be exposed to it as well?
Absolutely. So I'm glad you said that, because I was looking at the standings at the U.S. Open. It was probably I didn't really watch it live because I was also caddying for in a tournament for those past few days.
Yeah.
Yes,
was our member guest, our 4-day member guest.
Yes. So I was keeping track of it and okay, what's going on? Who are the top dogs? who's going to qualify, who's not, like where they actually playing. Then I'm realizing, okay, like they're playing at Oakmont Country Club, one of the hardest courses like in the
Oh
world.
yeah.
And like you see, you see professionals playing like your average Joes. You know, it's like it's fun to see. It's fun to see like the evolution of the game, how far it's come in like let's see, like 20 years even.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think honestly, it kind of has the same appeal as baseball. You know, if you sit down and watch a game for or a round for like about 3 4 hours, then you know if you really pay attention, you can definitely get some entertaining moments out of it. Um, I think the U.S. Open, especially, I keep talking about it because like it really intrigued me, especially since an underdog won. Um,
Mhm.
but it's really entertaining, honestly. Being out there caddying, um, obviously that got me into it, right? Because I don't think I would really turn on golf if I wasn't a caddy, if I wasn't trying to learn the game. Um, it's a shame, you know, because people that have the same mindset as I did before I started caddying, they're kind of missing out. Um, I believe golf is a beautiful game. It's like
Mhm.
unlike any other.
Mhm.
Um, there's dozens of acres of beautiful land, lavish greens, just the environment, the people out there. You know, it's unmatched. You don't get that from any other sport.
Yeah, well said. And I don't know if you know this. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I can tell you that it's big numbers. But of all other sports, that includes baseball, football, basketball, soccer, you name it. No other sport raises as much for charity than golf does. Through all of the thousands, and I mean thousands, and I'm not just talking about at the professional level. I'm talking about even everyday, tournaments, corporate events, things like that have fundraisers all over the United States, raises literally billions of dollars each and every year for charities, much more than any other sport. So that's something to remember as well. They give a lot back, not just the pro guys, but just the average folks out there playing in that. Um, John, if you wouldn't mind, I said I was going to get you to talk a little bit about some of the requirements. So what were some of the things that Kevin had to do, and not just Kevin personally, but as a general rule for
Right.
somebody that's interested in becoming involved in the program? What some of the requirements?
It's actually pretty simple. It kind of boils down to first they need some financial assistance to go to college, and these days who doesn't? Quite frankly, yeah. But they need financial assistance for number one. Number two, they have to be they have to have a pretty solid grade point average. We like to see around 3 point, no less than 3.2, 3.5 grade point average. So they have to be a good student and be motivated. They have to show outstanding character, over a period of time, and be involved in a lot of, extracurriculars at school. And then the big requirement is they have to get the loops. They have to get the caddy rounds. We have a minimum of 100. Most of the caddies are getting somewhere between 130 and 150 loops. So the Evans Scholarship is
Oh,
caddies only. If you don't caddy, no need to apply.
right.
Uh, but those four things are kind of the prerequisite that we're looking for on a really solid applicant. And this year we had about close to, I think it was 350, 360 scholarships awarded around the country.
Wow, that's incredible. Um, you know, and it is really a great opportunity for a young man like Kevin to take advantage of that because again, obviously caddying is a big part of it, but getting a solid education out of this. I mean, you know, Kevin, there's nothing that you'll ever do in your life that will better prepare you than a good education and having that ability to do that. And to be able to go on and do the things that whatever dreams that you have in your heart. And I'll get you to talk a little bit about that, but because I mentioned earlier what your interests are. But I want to first ask you, and I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here because I think I heard you correctly. You said that you caddied for John. So at some point you had to give him a little bit of advice around the golf course. Can you think of a time? Because you got to know his game a little bit as you were caddying, and I don't know if you did for others as well, but you got to caddy for John a little bit. What did you notice about his game that you said, okay, I think I can help him with this? He's been picking the wrong club here. And, instead of hitting that 7-iron, maybe he needs to step up and hit a different club or something. So did you find moments like that, obviously respectfully, but where you had to step up and say, John, I think you need some help on this one?
Yeah, no, I've never done
I'm
that.
waiting for this answer.
No, I'm happy to answer it. I'm not that kind of caddy. There are definitely some caddies out there that will tell you, they will speak up if they think that you're making the wrong decision.
Right.
But me personally, like I said, I'm not really comfortable with that yet because I'm still learning the game. And even if I did, I still don't think I would do that. I'm not. Yeah, no, that's not my personality. I kind of
I
find
think
that
that's a good.
disrespectful.
That's a good point. Kevin would usually he would respond when you ask him. If I toward his his second and third year, I asked him, what do you think about reading this putt? What do you think about the green?
Yeah.
And then he would get up there and start looking at it, and he would give you some advice. But it was always he wouldn't give unsolicited advice. Let's put it that way, which is great. That's a great attribute for a good caddy.
No, that's perfect. I'll tell you a little inside thing that I used to see, and this is obviously going to date me a little bit, but I used to watch growing up Lee Trevino. And Lee Trevino had his caddy for years. Of course, he's no longer, Lee is, but his caddy's no longer Herman with us. But he would always throw back and he would say, and this is a go-to, Kevin, so I'm giving you some advice here, is if the player ever says to you, what do you think? You throw right back and say, well, what do you think? How do you think the putt looks from here? And get them to give it. And then you say, yeah, I think that looks good. And then let them go to it. And then if they make the mistake, it's on him. So that's some good advice there is don't give the unsolicited advice. Just say, what do you think? What do you think that putt looks like there? What do you think? You think you can get there with that 7-iron? Whatever the case is, throw it back on them. That way, then you're good to go. What did you learn from your experience, though? All kidding aside, I just wanted to have some fun there. What did you learn going through the program? Obviously, you learned about golf, something that you weren't familiar with. But what did caddying teach you? One, about the game, but about yourself.
Absolutely. So it taught me discipline because just to get there, to get the most rounds, especially in the summer, you might have to get up early, or if you're going in the middle of the day, you might have to, trudge through the sun. And also just like being aware of your surroundings too. I also realized that because, you wouldn't be a good caddy if you weren't aware of, especially if you're carrying 2 bags, you wouldn't be a good caddy if you weren't aware of where both of your golfers are at the same time. You wouldn't be aware. You wouldn't be a good caddy if you weren't aware of the green, like how fast the green is, like which way it's going, which way the ball's going to go. Just being aware, being disciplined, and those are the 2 main things.
That's great.
Let me just add that too, Ted, just for some context. Kevin lives on the west side of town. It takes about 30 minutes to get to the club, so it's not like he is a couple blocks away and walks to the club. In the early days, his dad had to bring him over, and then would wait in the parking lot for 4 hours 4 or 5 hours while he got ready to go out and do a loop and come back, and then he would wait there and drive him back home, and then when Kevin got his license, then he would drive across town to get there every day. So talk about discipline. It's you referred to early on, right? What does it makes Kevin's story special? It's just discipline and motivation to see it and go get it.
Yeah, and that that's so true, and that speaks volumes again for you as a young man, because again, in this day and age, we see so much of the youth not really finding their way. And this has opened a door for you, whether you ever play, golf at some sort of competitive level, or whether you just play it recreationally, with some friends, or whether you don't ever play it at all. It's opened a door for you that may not otherwise have been opened, and taught you something that you didn't know about a game and about a sport that you didn't know before. So there's so many firsts for you, but at the same time, now you can go through with a little bit more confidence, so that maybe the next time when you are, if you do get an opportunity to carry John's golf bag, you can tell him which club to select, because you'll have confidence now and he won't give you any flack because he'll know that you've been doing this for a while and you know what you're talking about. So I'm just having some fun. John, let's talk about the BMW Championship. This is something that has been a big contributor to helping raise and fund and that. Tell us a little bit about it for those that aren't familiar. Obviously, the BMW Championship is a professional event, but that's happening up in August. Raised a lot of money for the Caddy Scholarship. Talk a little bit about that if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the BMW Championship is actually run by the Western Golf Association, and the proceeds from the BMW Championship go to the Evans Scholar Foundation. So in 2021, I think I'm trying to think of the notes on that. When it started, the BMW Championship started. When was it? 2007, I guess, was the first one, right? And so we were lucky to get the BMW Championship here in Baltimore at Cays Valley in 2021, and it was a highly successful event. I think we raised over $5.5 million from that event directly for the Evans Scholar Foundation and for scholarships. And I think over that period of time, since 2007, we've raised about $60 million for the Evans Scholar Foundation. So it's a big marquee event. Of course, the BMW is coming back to Baltimore this August, back to Cays Valley. They just renovated the golf course. I was just there yesterday. It's going to be quite a tournament. They really toughened it up, and it's going to be real exciting. That, for those who don't know, it's the event leading up to the final cut for the Tour Championship in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's always been a good event, and it's done so much to help. And then there's also the alum for the Evans Scholars, and also other partners and things like that help to raise a lot of money. I mean, you guys have done a phenomenal job using this foundation and the different programs that are available, especially this caddy program that has helped to bring so many young men like Kevin into the fold. And I want to talk about education just for a second, if you don't mind. I just want to switch here. I mean, obviously, Kevin, you had to be a pretty good student getting in here. You can't just, sort of come in resting on your laurels. You have to work a little bit in the books to get an education and preparation for this and that. But I talked about in the intro that you plan on studying kinesiology. First off, for those that don't know what that is, why don't you share what that is and why do you have the interest there?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. So kinesiology is, well, some people call it exercise science, but really it's the textbook definition is the study of human body movement. And I really wanted to get into that because, I'm an athlete myself, and my father, who had prostate cancer when I was little, he was diagnosed when I was in like elementary school. So most of my childhood life, really, I saw him like going through chronic pain, like in his back and stuff like that.
Right.
So I just wanted a career where I can like help others and myself, just live physically pain free.
Yeah, and that's that's very admirable, and again, it just, I can't say this enough, but it just speaks to the character of this young man, and it's very evident, John, why you sort of chose him to be a part of this, because it's he obviously has the ability to try new things, number one, but also recognizes others that maybe have struggles, obviously in this case his father, and says, I'd like to be somebody that can make a difference, not necessarily just potentially for him, but for others that I may come across that may have struggles as well, that if I can do something to help them. And that again tells a lot about an individual. Let's talk about, because I'm sure you've played some golf now, Kevin. Let's talk about your golf game a little bit. Are you, because you said you're an athlete, so I imagine you're hitting it out there pretty good. Would that be a good assessment?
All right, so let me tell you this, right? I was going to
There we go.
So I was this close to getting a bag last summer and like actually going out there and playing. But, I got my license a little too late. I got it in August. So, that's basically when school started. So I didn't really get a chance to. But now that I'm going to College Park, they have a golf course out there. So hopefully I can get out there and play. I've always wanted to play ever since I got in caddy because I, I was out there and I was like, they're kind of making it harder than it looks. You know?
Hear that, John? Here it comes.
No, not referencing him. Not referencing.
Of course he did.
Oh, to the truth that come out.
No, but
Go ahead.
seriously, I remember
Well, I think,
after a loop. Oh, no, go
I was
ahead.
going to say, remember, maybe Ted doesn't know that, but Kevin had to figure out how to get the school in and the loops, and he also was working 20 hours a week in a retirement home near where he lives. So he was working. He was working in the afternoons and the evenings, and a lot of Saturday evenings. So he would caddy in the morning and go out and work 4 or 5 hours in the evening at the Charlestown Community Center. Charlestown, right, Kevin?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Charlestown. So not only was he doing the school and doing the caddying, but then he had to find a way to find 20 hours a week for a high school kid. That just kind of goes to confirm that, as you said earlier, Ted, the character of this young man.
Well, I can tell you, Kevin, you're better than me because I didn't do that much when I was your age. School. I was lucky to get through school. Never mind. But anyways,
I can add on to that.
No, but
if I can add on to that, go ahead.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
So that last summer, especially, I think that was probably like the pinnacle, the highlight of my caddy career because it was absolutely ridiculous. Like I honestly don't know how I managed to get that amount of loops. Like I had to. There were some days where, like Mr. Leahy said, I would like work 2 times in the morning. I mean, I would work 2 times in one day. Like I would caddy in the morning and I would go to Charlestown in the afternoon. Actually, I just did it like last week on Saturday. But last summer, like there was like a time where I had to like request a leave of absence because I had to like commit full time to caddying because I had to get a certain amount of loops. And it was crazy, honestly. I don't know how I did it. And honestly, like, I don't know a lot of kids that would do that because it's such a time commitment. Like, I basically had to caddy, I'd say 3-4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, sometimes I would carry 2 bags. And honestly, that was an experience like no other. I've never been through something like that before. Like, and I knew at the beginning of the summer when, like, around this time last year, I was a ball spotter in the same tournament in the member guest tournament. And, I was out there for 3 days straight for like a couple hours, and I knew it would be a long summer because, golly, it was terribly hot. Like it was crazy. It's Maryland weather for you. It'd be really cold in the morning, and it would be really hot in the afternoon.
Well, I live in Florida, so I know all about hot. So let me tell you, I know all about hot. Come on down here, my friend, and we'll introduce you to some real heat. So you're going to try to get out, obviously, now that you've got your license and you've got a little free time, so to speak. You're going to try to get out there and work on your game. I want to go back. I got to circle back. And again, I'm playing a little devil's advocate here. You made a statement or a comment, and I got to pick you up on this. And you said that, watching, others play as you were caddying, that it didn't, you didn't think golf was as hard as what they were making it out to be. What made you, and all joking aside, what made you, and John, I'm sorry if he's referring to your game, I apologize. But I mean, again, this is the youth. I mean, it's not so hard. It's not that tough.
All my friends would agree, believe me.
Yeah. What is it about? What is it you think from what you've seen? And again, we'll leave John out of this. I don't want to pick on John, but
okay.
When you were watching players play, and what helped you to formulate that thought in your mind that, again, because you're wanting to study kinesiology, so obviously you understand the body and you're an athlete and that. What is it that you think that most golfers don't get, that they make it more difficult than what it need be? What is it that you saw? Because that intrigues me. The reason I asked, I've taught this game for 32 plus years, and I've seen all kinds of golf swings from some of the best in the world, from Tiger right on down. And I've seen some on the other end of the spectrum that are pretty bad. And I've never seen anybody that came out and said, "Oh, it's not that bad." So I'm here. I'm all ears. I got my headset cranked up here. I'm all ears. What is it about the game that you think a lot of people make it more difficult than what it needs to be?
All right, so when I said that, that was the perspective of somebody who was ignorant to the game. Because,
Okay.
like I said, that was when I first started out. When I first started out, I was like,
Right.
y'all making it look way too hard. But it's anybody who says that, you know that they don't know what they're talking about. Because golf
Right.
is really hard. Like, if you hit if you hit a club even just like a few inches off of where you're supposed to hit it, you can end up in the rough or in the bunker. You know, it could honestly like mess up the entire hole, or depending on where you are, probably the entire match. So people that say that, they probably never picked up a golf club, or they're just hating
Mm-hmm.
for I don't know what reason. But it's really hard. Like, and I was definitely humbled like for the first time when I went out to the range, and I just
Uh-huh.
started off with like I think it was a 4 iron. It's the first club I hit,
Wow.
and
That's
I'm like,
challenging. That's
okay,
tough.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, golly, this, maybe I'll be quiet. Maybe maybe I'll just stick to watching instead of talking. You know,
Yeah. That's why the good Lord gave us 2 ears and only one mouth, so that we listen twice as much as we talk. It's funny.
absolutely.
It's funny that you mentioned that, though, because you know, again, starting off with a 4 iron, that's pretty tough, even for some of the better players to do.
Yeah.
So, hitting a wedge, or, maybe a 9 iron would have been a better place to start, to hit your first few balls out there. So I'm glad that you were humbled a little bit. And you know what? Um, I think because you are athletic, I think once you do get the understanding of the game and how it really works, I think you'll probably do extremely well. Most young guys, when they get out there, obviously, they're full of testosterone. They're out there and they're like, I'm just going to belt this thing a mile, and they get out there and they whiff the first few balls and they don't go very far, or they're all over the place. But you've got a really good attitude about it, and the fact that you were able to humble yourself. So what I want to ask you, and then I'm going to go back to John here real quickly. What do you hope golf does for you moving forward? I mean, I'm assuming because of your age, I don't know how old you are, but I'm guessing you're getting up there. So it'd be a little late to start a pro career, perhaps. I mean, there are some guys out there on tour that have done that. But do you see it benefiting you, maybe as whatever work you get into, as helping your corporate life or your business life, or you just want to keep it sort of just, hey, I just want to go out and play with my friends? Where do you see golf fitting in the future?
I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no way I'm gonna be a professional golf player. That's out. I'm 18, so
Okay.
it would be
Yeah.
way too late to start. But I see golf as like kind of like a casual thing. Um, I don't really see it being like a huge part. Um, but I'm going into kinesiology, so you never know. But like my main sport was martial arts, so like I kind of plan to like keep that going in my adult life. Golf, like I said, it's a great game to play as you get older, and it's definitely good for networking and stuff like that. So I'll never rule that out. And I also hope to like connect kids to um, from the next generation to caddying, or
Hmm.
maybe even golf itself, because I feel like it's good to give back, especially since I never thought I'd be in this position now. And like just to see kids coming up the same way I grew up, to see them have that same opportunity, I feel like it'll fulfill me, and I feel like it'll give them the opportunity to have the same opportunity I did.
Yeah. Well said.
Well,
Um,
let me just add too. I think we're really confident that, and I think you can tell already, Tally, that Kevin will be a great ambassador for our program here in Baltimore. That as he goes through the University of Maryland and graduates from there in a few years, and go back into the city and where he went to school, and kind of mentor and teach some of these younger kids. I mean, I think that's where golf can take them.
yeah. I couldn't agree more. Just on a side note, I know you won't know who he is, but Larry Nelson didn't start playing professional golf until he was 21. So there is still hope. Now, mind you, he did play professional baseball. He wanted to play professional baseball, but so never say never. But I agree with you. I think it's something that you see, potentially opening future doors for you and being able to, be something that you can do. The one nice thing about golf, and you can tell I've got some snow on the roof here as well. So, it's something you can play well into your later years. And, it's unlike so many other sports. And it does, as I said early on, there's so many charities that have benefited from golf, both from the professionals, what they give back to the game, to everyday golfers like you and me that just go out there and play in events that raise funds for different charities, whether it's a kids foundation or something, or giving back to the Everett Scholar Foundation as well. John, I'm going to give you some final opportunity and final words here to talk about the program, talk about the WGA, whatever you want to talk about. Let the folks know how they can participate, how they can get involved, and maybe, give us a little bit of a pitch to maybe some younger audience members out there or parents out there that maybe have somebody, that's like Kevin here that would like to maybe look into this. How can they go about doing that?
Well, yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. First of all, I would say, if you want to know more about the program, go to WGAESF.org. That's Western Golf Association Everett Scholar Foundation, WGAESF.org. And learn about the program, learn about what we do. As far as the Everett Scholar Foundation, you can donate there. We certainly a plug for that. You can become a Par Club member at your club. Any club, any person at any golf club in the country, whether we have a caddy program or an Evans program, can be a sponsor. It's $250 a year to be a Par Club membership. You get a cool bag tag. You also get a gift from the Western Golf Association. Maybe it's an umbrella or a sleeve of balls or a cap. Mm-hmm. What we're trying to do is raise awareness around the country. So that would be for anybody anywhere in the country who had any interest in it. That's a good place to go to support it financially. But check in when you're into your community. It's interesting. We talked about the program started in 1930, and it's really been a secret out in the Midwest. It's been in Chicago in the Midwest. All the Big Ten schools have got Evans Scholar houses, chapter houses there. They've, we just talked about tens of thousands of alumni, and most of them come from the Midwest. So we're always looking for clubs to get involved. So to certainly reach out to the organization and ask about it. Or they can reach out to you and they can refer them back to me. I'm happy to take any call.
Fantastic. Well, Kevin, I want to thank you as well for coming on and sharing your story. And I know you've got a great future ahead of you. And I hope that you'll really, dig into golf, because I think you're going to find it's a lot more interesting. It's going to be challenging. And maybe fast forward in a few decades, you're going to be in John's position, and some young man like you is going to be coming up. He's going to be carrying your bag, and you're going to be able to have given him that same opportunity. And I hope that happens many times over for you as well. So, it is a great opportunity. There are so many things, and I've said this my whole life and my whole career. Golf mimics life in so many ways, more so than anything else, any other sport that I've ever been involved with. And I played most of them at some, certainly not a professional level, but at some level. And, but, what I've always found is if you can navigate the challenges on the golf course with some amount of success, and that doesn't mean you're perfect, but you are able to rise up to those challenges, then you're going to do the same thing in your life and vice versa. And that's what I mean by the parallels between golf and life. There are so many similarities. And John, I know you could equate that. I'm going to give you a final thought or two, anything that you would like to say to maybe some young viewers out there that may be watching this. If you want to make your pitch as somebody that's gone through the program, what would you advise them? If you had a group of youngsters sitting in front of you right now that were interested or curious as to what you've gone through, what would you say to them?
Absolutely. So I would tell you guys to, first of all, keep a level head, okay? Like, it's larger than life, especially going to a country club for the first time and, just like taking it all in. Mm-hmm. But if you're just getting into the game, just, take it like you would take anything else. At the end of the day, like, the people that are helping you, they're people too. Even though it may not seem like it, because they live different lifestyles than you. They're here most of these people are here to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say put in the work early. Don't wait till the last minute like I did. I had to spend an entire summer just trying to be eligible for the scholarship. It'll help if you're eligible, like, by the time you're a sophomore or even a junior. That would be perfect. Instead of having to, like, go all in the summer before your senior year. That wasn't really fun. But at the end of the day, it definitely taught me. It taught me, one, not to wait till the last minute. Don't procrastinate on stuff.
That's right.
And two, just put your head down and work. Sometimes you just have to put your head down and work the things that you want. If you really want something, go get it. I know it's a cliche, but that's something I really wanted. I mean, nobody really wants to, like, pay thousands of dollars for tuition in college, right? So I definitely want that financial freedom.
Mm-hmm. That's words of wisdom, words to live by. And you know what? Sometimes you have to go through some difficult challenges, because in the long run, Kevin, it makes you a better person, because you can look back now and you can say, man, that was a tough summer, but you know what? I got through it. And here I am on the other side. I feel good about myself. And because now you can do it, the next time another challenge comes through, you're not going to be looking down, and saying, God, I don't know if I can make this, because you did it the last time. And it's just a matter of being persevere and just, make that commitment to yourself. And it's really all for you, for nobody else. It's for you. It's for this is your life, and this is your opportunity. A door's been opened for you, and you have one of two choices. You can either close that door, or you can walk through, and you've chosen to walk through it. So just keep on walking as the next door comes through, and you're going to be very excited. I'm very impressed. I all sincerely, I mean, I joked around a little bit with you tonight, but I had to keep it real for the young audience. But John, I'm grateful and thankful for you for doing what you did to open a door for this young man, because I can see he's got a very bright future, no matter what he does with the rest of his life. He's on a good path, and I think that he's going to gravitate to golf a lot more than he realizes. And again, maybe he's not going to be out in the PGA Tour, but that's okay. He can, the senior tour is out there too, so maybe you can play on that. But when you get old enough, but in the meantime, get out there, enjoy it. Keep working through your education, because that's number one right there. And John, quickly, the website one more time, if you wouldn't mind, as we close off, and then we'll go.
Yeah, thank you. Again, it's WGA ESF. That's it stands for Western Golf Association Evans Scholar Foundation.org. WGAESF.org. You can go there. You can inquire about starting a program or getting involved at your club, or you can make a donation there. We'd love to have you make a donation and represent your club.
Perfect. Well, John and Kevin, thank you very much for joining me tonight and sharing both of your experiences from obviously different perspectives. I'm going to wrap up, so hang tight for just a second, guys, if you don't mind. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight to Golf Talk Live. I want to thank my earlier special guests, Pete Buchanan, for joining me on the Coach's Corner panel, and then also my good friend, golf fitness expert, Bob Foreman, for giving us some must-haves for this season to make sure that you're in good golf shape. And then obviously to John Leahy and Kevin Flowers for joining me here, talking about the WGA and the Evans Scholar Foundation as well. So thank you guys as well. And on that note, I will see you guys next week right here on Golf Talk Live. God bless everybody and have a great week.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this week's broadcast of Golf Talk Live. We'd like to thank this week's Coach's Corner panel, and a special thank you to tonight's guest. Remember to join Ted every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. Central on Golf Talk Live. And be sure to follow Ted on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're interested in being a guest on Golf Talk Live, send Ted an email at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. This has been a production of the iGolf Sports Network.